The Coordination Engine, a field map for the innovation economy. Introduction. The Frameworks division exists for one reason: to expose the hidden logic behind economic outcomes. It's not enough to ask where value is created. We ask how and under what conditions. In a world awash with dead capital, misallocated labor, and fragile institutions, the real edge lies in understanding the underlying coordination mechanisms that unlock productivity. This is where the coordination engine comes in, a metaphorical system that connects ideas, AI, human capital, and infrastructure into a fluid pipeline capable of turning dormant wealth into real-world outcomes. In this exposition, we'll break down each of the puzzle pieces, trace the story arc of innovation, name the frictional forces at play, and make the case that digital, idea-centric economies are not only more resilient, they're the only viable path forward. Section 2, the puzzle pieces of progress. Let's lay out the puzzle. Ideas are the alpha node. They represent human insight, the attempt to solve a problem, improve a process, or build something novel. Ideas are the potential energy of the innovation economy. Dead capital is wealth that sits idle. It holds energy but lacks motion. When paired with ideas, it has the chance to re-enter circulation, not as consumption, but as investment into future productivity. Human capital is what transforms potential into movement. It includes time, skill, creativity, risk tolerance, and lived experience. But human capital is limited. Its capacity to work on complex problems is often consumed by context switching, burnout, or bureaucracy. AI acts as a cognitive prosthetic. It holds the shape of an idea in suspended animation so the human mind can iterate rather than juggle. It compresses time, reduces mental drag, and unlocks new domains of experimentation. It doesn't replace humans. It removes the bottleneck of mental overload. Yield is the manifestation of aligned motion. It is the fruit of capital correctly applied to the right idea by the right minds, using the right tools. It is the proof that the coordination engine is working. These components don't exist in isolation. They are part of a living system. When in flow, they create a self-reinforcing loop of insight, allocation, and reward. Section 3, the arc from ideation to manifestation. Every real innovation story is a journey, a story arc from point A, insight, to point B, impact. Think of this arc like a pipeline. 1, an idea is born from a moment of clarity, pain, or pattern recognition. 2, it requires a home, mental bandwidth to hold it, capital to explore it. 3, AI comes in to prototype, simulate, or shape the contours. 4, human capital applies judgment, iteration, and risk. 5, the idea becomes product, policy, or platform. 6, yield is generated, measured in revenue, productivity, well-being, or system resilience. This is the flow the coordination engine enables. Every delay, dropout, or derailment comes from something interfering with that arc. IV, infrastructure and acceleration. In this model, infrastructure is what turns ideas into repeatable action. But not all infrastructure is physical. Roads and bridges matter, yes, but in a digital economy, the real highways are APIs, smart contracts, code libraries, cloud services, legal frameworks, financial instruments, trust systems, blockchains, identity protocols. The US became an innovation superpower not just by producing things, but by creating the rails upon which new ideas could move quickly and safely. Legal protections for intellectual property, deep venture capital markets, and a culture of risk tolerance all played their part. Today, digital infrastructure is the upgrade. It removes latency. It reduces friction. It allows the story arc from idea to manifestation to be compressed, weeks instead of years. It also makes scale exponential. Without it, ideas die in transit. V, the friction forces. Every coordination engine faces resistance, not from nature, but from systems built to defend the past. Here are the key antagonists. Inertia, the tendency of systems to maintain the status quo. Organizations, governments, and even individuals resist change not because the new idea is bad, but because change feels costly. Inertia delays action, slows execution, and often kills ideas silently. Bureaucracy, the operating system of stagnation. Bureaucracy is rule following without outcome orientation. It thrives in environments where accountability is diffuse and novelty is treated as a threat rather than a signal. Incumbents, entities with power and distribution locked in. They don't want innovation unless they own it. Incumbents often fight change through lobbying, litigation, PR spin, and strategic acquisitions that bury disruption under a mountain of red tape. Legacy processes. self-reinforcing workflows built in another era. These systems were designed for conditions that no longer exist, but they persist because they are embedded in culture, contracts, and careers. Gatekeepers, actors, human or institutional, who stand between the idea and the audience. They decide what gets funded, published, distributed, approved. Their incentives are often misaligned with progress, and they fear disintermediation more than failure. These friction forces don't just slow things down, they change the shape of innovation. Ideas are distorted, timelines are extended, and the yield is diluted. The coordination engine's job isn't just to run, it's to overcome.
This content is brought to you by Bobby Gigs. Promote your brand here and reach a wide audience across platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Follow the links in the description to get started.
VI, environmental conditions. No journey unfolds in a vacuum. The arc from ideation to yield plays out in a live environment, shaped by timing, catalysts, and uncertainty. Fog of uncertainty. We rarely have full information. Markets shift, technologies evolve, social norms change. This fog clouds decision-making and causes many operators to freeze. But within it also lies asymmetric opportunity, if you have clarity where others don't. Catalysts. These are shockwaves that shake the system. Economic collapse, war, a new AI model, a regulatory shift. Catalysts break inertia and open windows of possibility. The prepared move fast. The unprepared get left behind. Time. Time is both constraint and clarifier. Some ideas are too early, others are overdue. Timing governs adoption curves, learning cycles, and market readiness. The coordination engine doesn't just create yield, it creates timely yield. It shortens the gap between insight and impact. Together, these conditions form the weather system in which every operator must navigate. They're not controllable, but they can be anticipated, leveraged, or counterbalanced with the right mental models and tools. 7. Technological superpower, economic sovereignty. In the old world, economic power meant controlling land, labor, and raw materials. In the modern world, it means controlling ideas, tools, and the infrastructure to deploy them at scale. That's why technological superpower status is no longer optional. It's existential. The U.S. case study. America rose to dominance not just because it had capital, but because it had the coordination infrastructure to mobilize that capital behind ideas. The rule of law to protect those ideas, the capital markets to fund them, the educational systems to train talent, the cultural permission to fail and try again. This is why Silicon Valley became the engine room of global tech. It wasn't just about software. It was about institutional support for iteration. The global gap. China, in contrast, speaks the older language of commodities, factories, and scale. It is slowly shifting toward technological self-reliance, but its strength is still rooted in physical production. That worked in a world of global trade. But in a digitized, decentralized economy, manufacturing strength alone will not guarantee sovereignty. The circular tech economy. The future belongs to nations that can invent what they consume, build what they imagine, grow what they eat, not just agriculturally, but ideologically and technologically. This is sovereign self-reliance through innovation, a circular loop where capital, ideas, services, and digital infrastructure feed each other in a regenerative cycle. In this model, a country's intellectual property becomes its most valuable export. Its AI models and protocols replace physical products as levers of influence. Its startup ecosystems function like decentralized R&D labs. Its digital infrastructure becomes a national asset, just as critical as energy or defense. This is the new arms race, and the coordination engine is how you train for it. Conclusion: the coordination engine in action. The coordination engine isn't just a metaphor, it's a diagnostic tool and a strategic compass. Every time we look at a stalled project, a struggling economy, or a stagnant institution, we can ask, where is the idea? Is it strong, clear, relevant? Where is the capital? Is it risk-averse, trapped, or misallocated? Where is the AI? Is the cognitive load too high for humans alone to carry the solution? Where is the infrastructure? Are the rails modern, or are we moving digital ideas through analog pipes? Where is the friction? Who's blocking progress and why? And when things are moving well, when ideas turn into yield with surprising speed, we can trace the alignment. Capital found its idea. Humans had bandwidth to build. AI held the mental space. Infrastructure enabled frictionless motion. Gatekeepers were circumvented or converted. This is the coordination engine in action. Not a magic formula, but a mental model for operators, investors, builders, strategists, and policymakers alike. Open quote. The future belongs to those who understand the machinery of motion, not just what moves, but what enables it to move freely. Close quote. Flint West, Frameworks Division. Final takeaways. Ideas are the new soil. What you plant and where matters. Dead capital must be reanimated. Idle money is wasted energy. AI is the mind's scaffolding. Use it to hold the shape of the idea while you build. Infrastructure is everything. It's not just the path, it's the speed, the scale, and the shape of progress. Friction must be mapped. Every obstacle is a mirror of someone's fear or control. Sovereignty comes from code. Nations that master idea deployment, digital service creation, and innovation loops will own their own fate. This is your field map. Use it to read the terrain. Use it to shape your strategy. Use it to stay ahead of the story. End of briefing. Flint West, Frameworks Division, MIA Macroeconomic Intelligence Agency.